the government owns and distributes all the liquor. So they control that whole industry. So we're now imported into Canada, and we're being supplied throughout the LCBOs in all that whole industry, and that's a really great start. So we're now imported into Canada, and we're being supplied through. I think with this brand will LCBOs in all that whole industry, and that's a really great start. So we're brand, and there's the ultimate consumer. The ultimate consumer, we think, in the world is the American consumers. They understand branding and marketing and advertising, but they understand the value of a brand and something that looks great, something that lives up to its name and quality. And they're a tough consumer to entice, but once you have their loyalty, you have their loyalty. So the American market, although tough, is something we think the brand has a great opportunity in America. So we're really looking at spreading our wings in America. So that's what we're focusing on at the moment.
Oh, that's amazing. So also the other thing that's happened, obviously, with the whole lockdown and the coronavirus and everything, things have changed a lot. What is your thoughts on the local market? And are you planning to serve the local customers better? Are you planning any plans in the local market, in the South African market?
It's been certainly the whole pandemic has created a whole new set of challenges. And I think out of that, a whole new set of opportunities will arise. It's going to change the landscape and how things work, and how businesses are operated. Won't operate maybe the same way. They will have to change. And we're now seriously looking at South Africa as a market. It's right on our doorstep. It's our home ground. But it's also been the most interesting market to get into, because it's also heavily contested by some of the really big names. So we've actually looked at the local market and said, well, look, given the opportunity, we've grown now. We think we should look at South Africa. And it sounds a bit back to front. You'd think we'd start here, make a success here, and then go overseas. But actually, it worked the other way around. We've become, very successful and demanded brand in Europe, but here it's been very, very sparse on the ground. So we have looked at the local market, and at the moment we decided to look at it, we had the coronavirus, and so now we had to climb over that hurdle. But we will prevail, and we will be looking at a countrywide distribution and availability of the Fishwives Club brand in South Africa, and we are turning our attention to South Africa alongside looking at America.
Well, that's awesome and exciting for people here that want to get your brand. So you've had a bit of a headache with logistics after the lockdown. So can you tell us a little bit about that, and how are you progressing in actually getting your wine out to consumers?
Well, the lockdown has created obviously a massive backlog of stock that now needs to go back, get sent to the markets overseas. So wineries have been put under the cosh, so to speak. And now with the opening up again, they have to now get those orders out as much as possible. So there's a long queue and a pecking order in who gets what when. And so for us, our new vintages are ready. But again, we will only receive stock at the end of July, which is not great, because we went out with a big special, expecting the stock earlier, and we've had to apologize profusely to all our customers who have ordered, to say if they can hang on. Apologies for the delay, but it will be ready at the end of July. But at least we have a date now to aim at, and we can work around. We've got a date when we'll get all our stock, and we'll be able to start feeding the market. So you'll be able to get our wines through Take-A-Lot and through various distribution channels and restaurants and off sales in Joburg and in Cape Town. But that'll all start from July, as well as our new canning brand line. Our 250 ml cans are and a pecking order in and they'll be canned in the first week of August. And restaurants and range we're bringing off sales in Joburg and in Cape Town. But that'll all start from July, as well as our new canning brand line.
A little bit more about the
our
cans
250 ml cans
and
a packing order in
South African
and they'll be canned in the first week of August. And restaurants and range we're bringing off sales.
I assume you haven't really built a network of distributors in South Africa. Is that something you would consider? And if a distributor is listening to this and they want to do business with you, should I give you a call?
Absolutely. I think that, you know, in this business, it's a team effort. You don't succeed on your own. There's a route to market, and that route to market is very important. Who you work with, who you build long-term relationships with, particularly when it comes to distributors. That's a long-term relationship that can really yield fruit for both parties. So of course we're looking for the right distributors. We have our first local distributor in Johannesburg, but of course, you know, reaching everyone in the country, it's important that we have the right fit, the right partner that can offer us what they call walls and wheels, which is really no need to reinvent the wheel with the distributors. They know all about walls and wheels, but basically for those consumers out there who don't know what that is, it's really just warehousing and the delivery of the product to the stores and to the homes and the people ordering it. So we're looking for that kind of potential partner as well, and someone that can offer us a countrywide reach would be fantastic. We have a brand that we think will grow really, really well, and we have the track record to prove our growth.
Okay, that's awesome. So you've mentioned the wine in a can, and I mean, that's really exciting. So tell us about it. How did this idea come along, and you know, what is wine in a can?
It's a disruptive product. The same way, you know, winemakers were like, no, we don't want screw caps. That's not how it's done. You know, it's really cheapening my brand and what have you. But it turns out that screw cap provides a better containment than let's say cork does in normal closure. So it seems natural to me that cans is really the next evolution. It's not going to replace bottles. It's just going to be another way to enjoy wine that's convenient. It also offers infinitely recyclable packaging. Its carbon footprint is so much less. It's lighter to transport, which means it costs less and burns less fuel in order to get the product there because of its weight. It's something I was working on for about 2 years, trying to convince my winemaker that this is a good idea, and they all said, look, we've tried it, it didn't work. And I said, well, my experience in advertising has taught me that it's not about, the idea may be brilliant, but if the timing isn't right, then the idea is seen to be dead in the water. And this is not really this is not really true. The truth of the matter is every idea needs its time, and it cannot be too soon and it cannot be too late. It needs to be just right. I think the time for cans right now is just right. In a disruptive time, in a time where we need to reinvent ourselves, reinvent our brands and products and how we satisfy the consumer, we need to be creative, and we need to be innovative. And I think for me, the canned product is the right product at the right time.
Oh, that's very exciting. When are these wine in a can product, when is it going to be launched?
We're launching in August. We are canning in the first week of August, and so I would say late August we should be ready to be able to start delivering and start supplying into the supply channels.
Okay, well, I've seen that you've got a giveaway promotion running on the cans. I think you're giving away a case of 24 cans of Sauvignon Blanc. Can you tell us a bit more about this?
Yeah, it's a great way to buy our product and have 24 cans in your fridge, and it's also it's just a nice way to try it without having to buy it, and it's something that's it's a nice giveaway because it's not like having to give away cases of wine, because of, again, this product, the cost associated with shipping a case of wine versus cans is very different. And and you'll be the first to try this brand in a can, and I think that they'll become collector's items. As far as our first canning run, I'm very to have the first cans off the line. My suggestion is don't open them, just sign them and keep them. as a keepsake. But yeah, that for us is going to be a wonderful opportunity, and I think it's a nice prize to offer our first virgin brand canned wine product as a prize.
Oh, that's interesting. Patrick, now, I mean, this is all exciting and stuff like that, but your grand vision, what is your grand vision for the future of the Fishwives Club?
My goal, my secret vision and dream for this brand is to make it the most recognizable wine brand in the world. And the reason why I think it's not an unattainable goal and vision is the small wine created a champagne that became world famous, and then so did a few others in the locale of champagne. And there's so many wine brands, and so few people can remember any of them. And I think that one has to believe that you can achieve something. And I think that that goal is achievable with the right import partners, the right distributors, and the right partners on the team. I think that this brand can be one of the most recognizable wine brands in the world.
Wow, Patrick, that's awesome. All right. Thank you very, very much for coming and talking to us today. I think our listeners will find this very, very interesting, and I appreciate you taking the time. We'll put all the links to the can giveaway and to all the other stuff in the description below. And yeah, good luck with everything you're doing with the Fishwives Club. Thank you for supporting our show. If you would like to get more exposure for your business, please have a look at our sponsorship options. Thanks again for supporting About the Winelands. Please follow us on YouTube and on our social media channels. All details and links are in the description. Welcome to About the Winelands. In this show, we'll be chatting to leaders, influencers, wine producers, restaurants, wineries businesses, and other role players. Tune in every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday for our latest episodes. You will find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram TV, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. Good day, everyone. Today I'm talking for the second time to Patrick Robertson of the Fishwives Club. Hi, Patrick, and welcome back to About the Winelands.
Hi, Will. Thank you very much for having me on again.
Well, it's interesting having you on. You know, you're the first person that I've actually interviewed for the second time. But for viewers who haven't heard your story, can you just give us a short summary of, you know, what the Fishwives Club is, and also how you started the company?
Well, those who are interested in this unusual story can read about it on the website. There's a story there. But to try and keep it as short as possible, my old life ended in 2012 in Johannesburg, where for almost 30 years I was in advertising, and I had built one or two agencies as well. And my life there and my whole career at my late early 40s sort of came crashing down. And my business partner was also my life partner, and she was my MD of my early 40s. And so all the things that transpired meant that I literally, when that came crashing down, I was left with nothing, and I had to start again with nothing. And I knew that it was time to leave advertising. I'd done my time there, and I had no idea what to do. And it was a very scary moment, because you don't have anyone to turn to. You don't have a huge amount of money left, and you don't know where your next how you're going to pay your rent next month. And to cut a long story short, I actually went to a psychic fair in Joburg before I'd come down, and I happened to go and see two psychics, one through crystals and stones and whatnot, and the other one read tarot cards. And both independently had mentioned that I would have a career in wine, and that it would become a sort of a global phenomenon. you know what, I'm only interested in drinking wine. I'm not interested in selling it. And I thought they were completely crazy. But that sort of came to pass, eerily enough. And in the long story short, I managed to get a start with a brand with a picture of a lady on a fish. And I was just driven, completely obsessed with knowing that this was something I needed to follow. And things fell into place, but it was a long ride. It was now going on 7 years of one person building a brand in an industry that's very, very competitive, and there's thousands, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of wine brands globally. How do you stand out? And then how do you do it with one guy who doesn't know anything about the wine industry? It's crazy, but you know, I've been blessed to even still be going, and I'm building slowly but surely. And now we export to 10 countries, and the brand is growing, and it's a very exciting time.
Wow, that's amazing, Patrick. Great story. So, I mean, you also have a lot of exciting new things happening at the moment, and one of the places where things are happening a lot is in Belgium. Can you tell us about how the Fishwives Club is growing in Belgium, and also, in other countries?
I was very fortunate in that I think a lot of the marketing I did for the brand online, it sort of landed up on Pinterest, and it landed up on YouTube, or it landed up just online, existing, some of the ads and campaigns that I'd done and put together. And my first international client was actually the Netherlands. My brand was seen on Pinterest by a very important buyer for a top importer in the Netherlands. And she got hold of me, and that's how the Netherlands started. Soon after that, Germany came across it, one of the importers in Germany. And as you know, the Netherlands also has Luxembourg and Belgium. So there's actually almost three countries in one. And I assume that they'd seen my brand at some restaurants and what have you in the Netherlands. And a Belgian importer called Kaapwijn de Leeuw me at Cape Wine. I'd never been to any international shows. I didn't have any money to go. Only the real big players can go to these big shows. They're very expensive to attend. And so my only show that I'd ever been to in a wine show happens every 3 or 4 years. And Lars Mark, who gave me from that one, it's the biggest international show you can go to as far as being local, not having to get on a plane. And that's where I met Kaapwijn. They came past my stand and loved the brand and had known about it. And he said, look, I definitely want to import your brand. And that was Peter de Leeuw. And that's how we got into Belgium. And Belgium has just rocketed. It's become for the Netherlands, and particularly Belgium now, it's become a bit of a cult brand there. It's really, really well known.
Well, it's interesting, I've seen some of your guys that are selling the brand is in, it seems to be like a summertime brand in the beach areas there of West End and those long Belgian beaches. Are there restaurants and stuff like that selling your brand, or how is it actually selling?
My importer, Kaapwijn de Leeuw, have various sales channels and people that rep for them and work alongside them that bring the brand to the far reaches of Belgium. And one of them is the beach, the coastal side. And there's lots of seafood restaurants. The Netherlands and Belgium are very, very well known for their fresh seafood and all the different delectable seafood delicacies. And I think that's one of the reasons why the Fishwives Club has done so well there, is because it just has a natural affinity with seafood. It's fantastic with seafood. And obviously the picture and the name lends itself to that. And so the seafood restaurants, they quickly saw the opportunity here and to put forward the Fishwives Club to pair with their fish dishes. And I think that's a real positive energy that follows the brand.
So, Patrick, what is the demographic of your typical European customer? What does he or she look like?
It's an interesting question, Will, because it's primarily a female brand. Women in particular have really, how can I put it, seen affinity with this brand. And it's got quite an uncouth name, the Fishwives Club. But the illustration of the lady on the fish is very glamorous and very beautiful and very detailed. And it's got a lot of beauty in it. And I think that the attention to detail, the copy on the back, that's really considered when you read it. The whole packaging of the brand and the wine itself seems to meet the taste profile that women enjoy, and that's really been mostly the market, and anywhere from the millennials all the way through to 40, 50 plus. That's the market is quite wide in that respect from an age group. Demographic and target market. So definitely female, and definitely to 40, 50 plus. Appeals to the millennials as well. That's the market is quite wide in that respect from an age group. Wine brands need to demographic and target market. So definitely female, and definitely to 40. Looking for something fresh and exciting, and the old family traditional wine making and 100-year-old vines and all that, they're lovely stories, but they're not appealing to you and the new generations of wine drinker. And I think we need to innovate, and we need to do fresh things, and we need to be exciting. And wine can be very, very exciting. It doesn't have to be conservative and boring. And I think that is why this brand is finding favor so quickly and growing quickly in the markets it goes into.
That's interesting. What is the price point of your wine? Where does it fall on the price scale?
In Europe, we're looking at anywhere between €8.58 and €8.95 a bottle. You can find it roughly around that price range online generally, and that seems to be pretty consistent throughout Europe.
So it's middle of the range, right?
Yeah, we like to call it.
Ja, en dan gaan al die moegheid weg. En jy nooi eintlik daai persoon om saam in die skaduwee van
premium price tag, but it's not bag in a box. It's not a low end wine at all. It's a handcrafted wine, but it's designed to be and blended and made to be accessible.
Oh, interesting. Patrick, also one of the things that you know is very interesting about your business is that you are actually assisting your distributors to actually sell the product. How do you do that?
What's important is to provide my importers with as much marketing material and as much assistance from that side as possible. And it's important that the brand communication remains consistent, no matter which market it goes into, no matter who's importing it. It needs to have a consistent look and feel and tone of voice that side as possible. Sense of humor. And it's important that the brand communication remains consistent, no matter which market it goes into, no matter who's importing it. It needs to have a consistent look and feel and tone of voice that side as possible. For restaurant posters, outdoor signage, and all the marketing campaigns online that my clients and my importers can use. Just downloading from our unique toolbox, which we offer all our importers a unique toolbox where they have a wealth of a treasure trove of marketing materials with which to just download at no extra cost to them, and use in their markets, and to use offer their clients. And what's important is that we also, through social media, target their buyers and highlight their buyers. And hi, Patrick James Robertson from the Fishwives Club Boutique Winery. Just had a fantastic swim here at their buyers and spare tidal pool. You can see behind me here the 12 Apostles. It's absolutely stunning. Really beautiful scenery here in Cape Town. The water's nice and chilly on the Atlantic side. It's perfect for swimming and really waking all parts of you up. But my message today, we have another lockdown on sale of alcohol, and really the South African businesses are really suffering under these really draconian measures that our government is taking, and we believe incorrectly, and there's a lot of protests going on to save South African businesses and all the people it employs, because there's just no support from the government at all, and we have to fend for ourselves. And my message out there to business owners and entrepreneurs is that we just got to work together and look out for each other and pull together. This is when it really counts, and this is what we do best, is pull together and support each other, and buy from the family-owned businesses and buy from the smaller businesses, the businesses that have families putting food on the table, uniforms on their children, and basically the struggle's real for so many business owners and for people in these circumstances. So my message is also to just persevere. It's really tough, but this is what makes you. Makes you or breaks you, and you've got what it takes to pull through, and you've got everything you need, even though it doesn't seem. But we've just got to have faith and dig deep and pull through, and we will pull through, and we will succeed. We will get through it. We'll survive, one way or the other. So just have faith, love each other, support each other, and let's get through this together. Let's win together. Hi, Patrick James Robertson from the Fishwives Club Boutique Winery. Just had a fantastic swim here at Camps Bay Tidal Pool. You can see behind me here the 12 Apostles. It's absolutely stunning. Really beautiful scenery here in Cape Town. The water's nice and chilly on the Atlantic side. It's perfect for swimming and really waking all parts of you up. But my message today, we have another lockdown on sale of alcohol, and really the South African businesses are really suffering under these really draconian measures that our government is taking, and we believe incorrectly, and there's a lot of protests.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Safe live stream. Tonight's going to be quite exciting. We are going to interview Patrick James Robertson. Patrick is the CEO of Fishwives Club Boutique Winery, and he's going to give us a little bit of a talk on how to build an international wine brand, which I think is going to be well. Thanks for everybody that's been visiting us and coming onto the live streams and calling in. By the way, if you want to call in, you're welcome. I'll tell you a bit more about what Patrick's going to tell us in a minute. But if you want to call in the meantime while we wait for Patrick, and talk to us a little bit about your thoughts on the lockdown, what you think, and give your 2 cents. We will have to talk. All you need to do is type in bit.ly/about wine, and we will chat with you I forgot the music. That's why you can't hear me. Alright, there we go. Thank you to my team for telling me that. Sorry guys, I'm obviously a bit absent-minded here. It's been a long day. I've been doing quite a few live streams the last few days. It's been so exciting actually building this group and seeing the amazing support from all over the world for the cause of what's happening here. I see today that it looks like the wine industry is going to court on I think the 18th. So that's still quite a few. That's still 12 days away. So there's still a long slog ahead, even and there's no certainty that the court case will even bear any fruit. So we have no idea when this lockdown will end, but we need to keep the pressure up. And the way for us to keep the pressure up is by creating awareness. This is an awareness campaign, and I'm really thanking everyone for working with us, raising awareness, and getting our story out. We need to do more. Um, we really need to do more. We've got close to 30,000 people now on the Facebook group. We need now to get that over 100,000. If every single person that's on here, on this group, actually just goes out and gets 3 or 4 people, we'll cross the 100,000 threshold, which will, be a very big milestone. And it will just raise the awareness exponentially because we really need to do this. If we don't keep the pressure on, there's going to be no incentive for change, and people will keep on suffering. So that's our appeal to you, to keep the pressure on. One of the things that we are proposing, or that I'm proposing that we do, is we actually go to Twitter and please on Twitter use the hashtag Save SA Wine. Like go to Twitter, search that hashtag, and then go to every single post that you find, like that, retweet it, and also write your own tweet with the hashtag Save SA Wine, because doing that will actually make that hashtag start to trend in Twitter. We need thousands of messages to actually get a Twitter trend going. But if we can get that done, we will actually start making an impact, because it will show on Twitter as trending, which means the press and everyone will get hold of it. Yes. So back to what we're doing here tonight. Patrick James Robertson is the CEO of the Fishwives Club, a boutique winery. Patrick has been in this business for a number of years, I think 7 or 8 years, and he's built an international brand from really nothing. And he's going to share with us what he did, how he did it, and also, maybe some pointers on how you can apply this to your own business. And just interesting to hear from somebody that's been slogging through the years, through difficult times, and also what he's doing now in this time, and how he's actually, making sure that his brand is surviving. He obviously also, like all other wineries, would love for you guys to support him. You can support him in a few ways. Firstly, you can just like and share this live stream and his brand with as many people as you can. I know he's got this Fishwives Club can giveaway. He's launching a new range of cans at the end of August, which is fantastic. The branding is really, really good. And the wine in the cans also is going to be high quality wines. And furthermore, I think, I know that Patrick has a 45% off on a second case of wine lockdown special, for people that want to support him. But I'm looking forward to hear from Patrick. So Patrick is not here because at the moment he's actually on a Zoom call with a client importer in the United States, and I'm sure he'll give us some feedback. So good luck to that at the moment. He'll share with us where he's exporting to at the moment and how he's managed to build his international and export brand, and also how he's going to take this forward. It's quite an interesting story. So if there's anybody that wants to call in, please feel free to actually come onto the live stream and talk to us. The other thing is that if there's any questions, if you guys have any questions, please just either call them in or type them in the comments here on the live stream, and we'll try to answer them as best we can. you know, I will, with my limited knowledge, try to see what I can, but I also will find people that can answer any question if we need to be. We've got such a big group. And talking about I think the time is now to actually go very quickly and see what we can, what's going on in the group. So at the moment, we're at 29,229 members. Now, I don't know if you guys been listening, but this is our 10th day. So we've grown from 0 to almost 30,000 members in less than 10 days, which is absolutely fantastic, and a lot of support from overseas. And I'm going to read a little bit from the group just to keep us occupied while we're waiting for Patrick to come on and talk to us. Again, if anybody wants to call in and give their 2 cents, I'm happy to talk to you. Here's a new member. Well, 3 days ago. 3 days is a new member, right? According to Facebook. But for in our lives here, the way this group is growing, this is a veteran. But he said, I drove to 3 liquor stores before I found South African wine, doing my part from Alaska. So this is a guy. He's already had 5,000 people comment on this post. So that's amazing. Simone van Dalen said 12 minutes ago, I'm supporting South Africa wines in the UK, and she's got a Clang Street here that she bought somewhere in the UK. I'm not sure where, but thank you very, very much for the support. It's appreciated. There's a guy here, Frederick Gumina. He said 30 degrees, so this will help. I'm sure this is in Europe somewhere because there is a bit of a heat wave. And it's a Grenache Rosé from Mirov. So interesting. More support from overseas. It's amazing how many of your international community has been supporting South African wines. And that's unbelievable. Sonia Sings just said, this delivery couldn't have come at a better time. 20 bottles of your favorite South African wines delivered on the east coast of the US. And this came from wine.com. So if you're in the US, you can go to wine.com and you can order wine there. Somebody just posted here, our wine estates have finally got the big guns out to take on the government. It's a photo of Whitey Basson and Dlamini Zuma. And we'll see what happens in court. From our side is we don't really get involved in politics. All we want to do is raise awareness so that people know that people in the liquor industry, in the wine industry, are suffering. This is one of the best industries in our country. It's also a top world-class industry, and we just need to keep on telling that story. And I believe that if we keep that story up, we tell it, we get more people to share it, change will come. And that's my appeal to everyone, is to take part. We need to save our winelands, to get things back to normal as quickly as we can. We all need this business to work. Talking about what you can do to raise awareness, if you still have not, I see lots of people have, but there's also many who haven't, changed their Facebook frame on these Facebook profiles to frame the Save SA Wine frame. That will be great. It just shows that you're supporting what we're doing. The other thing that you can do is we've applied, because to Livestream in LinkedIn, you need to actually apply. We applied a few days ago to LinkedIn to actually stream on our LinkedIn page. And we're confident that we'll be live streaming on this soon, but we're also creating content on LinkedIn. And, a lot of people working in the wine industry and everybody in South Africa that are looking for jobs are lots. So if you can get on there, follow About the Winelands on LinkedIn. Please like us there, like the content we've posted. Please share that. It's all about the hashtag Save SA Wine. The same thing goes for Twitter. We want Twitter to trend, so go to Twitter and please just use the hashtag Save SA Wine. Let's go on here in the Facebook group and see what else is going. Here's a guy from Switzerland posting in support of South African wines. Cheers from Switzerland. He's somewhere on a ski slope. I'm not sure if it's probably taken in winter time. I'm not sure if this photo was taken now, but that's a bottle of Cederberg he's supporting. and 918 likes on this photo. Great photo from the Swiss Alps. Corey Brink-Grobler, never tried this before, but we'll try heaps more to support South African wine. Greetings from New Zealand. He posted a Chocoholic. 536 people also like that. 3 days ago, Anja Kritzinger posted, we bought all the Durban Wheels bottles at your local offered to order more. We ended up buying 5 more bottles the next week. Okay, so there we go. Yolanda Kuleman posted 17 minutes ago. She's in Cyprus. Our local Lidl, we're doing our bit, and she bought a few boxes, looks like, of South African wine. 17 minutes ago, Andrew Towns in Walton on Thames went to Waitrose and Partners. Waitrose is a big supermarket group in the United Kingdom, and they bought some Zaltzer and Springfield Estate wines from Waitrose. I've heard somewhere, maybe somebody can tell us if this is true, that Waitrose have decided to discount all South African wines with a large percentage. So if we can get some input on that, that would be fantastic. If anybody wants to phone in and give your 2 cents, just come online here at bit.ly/aboutwine. We're waiting for the CEO of the Fishwives Club, Patrick Robertson, to come chat to us. Patrick is currently on a conference call with an importer in the United States. And Patrick is going to come chat to us about the way he's building his international brand. I think we'll find that interesting. It will give us a little bit of insight into what it actually takes to build an international wine brand, and also how that hard work can be devastated by something like this ridiculous alcohol ban we have at the moment. Somebody, Alison Stoltz, 18 minutes ago said, cheers from Zambia, and she posted a bottle of red wine. 18 minutes ago, Isabel Eckermans posted the collection is growing. She didn't say where she's from. She's got a Desalzde and a Rustenberg, so that's interesting. Jessica Lotzer, 19 minutes ago, posting from New York, from the Big Apple, and some South African wine she bought. Dale McDonald said, my very last glass of lockdown wine. And this was posted an hour ago. So I'm not sure if that glass is finished. He had one sip taken from there, and now it looks like this. I suppose this is done now. I feel sorry for you. I'm also here sipping coffee. But while I'm thinking about that, there's some great news. Tomorrow evening, we are launching one of the most exciting things we've ever done. We are launching the Prohibition virtual wine bar. So if you want to legally make a stand and legally, participate, then come on, bring your bottle of wine, a glass with you, and can drink wine with us in the Prohibition virtual wine bar. We will be posting all kinds of posts on that during the night, and you'll get all the links and everything. But we'll call in on Zoom. Everybody is welcome to join, and we believe, the first virtual wine bar in South Africa. And unfortunately, it's not a wine bar where you can buy wine. We have to social distance, so you've got to bring your own wine. But we are going to sit, we're going to drink wine, we're going to be on Zoom. We'll actually put the Zoom room on the live stream. We'll live stream from the Prohibition wine bar Zoom room to Facebook. We are live streaming to a number of Facebook pages and groups. We're live streaming to this Save SA Wine group, which will by tomorrow will have more than 30,000 people on the group. We'll also be streaming to some of our Facebook pages. We'll be streaming to the Springbok Fans Facebook page, which is the largest online community supporting our rugby team, and so on, and a lot of other places. We'll also be streaming to YouTube. We'll be streaming to Twitter via Periscope, and there's a chance that we'll also be by tomorrow streaming to LinkedIn. But the fact is that if you get onto this, you can be able to drink wine with new friends that you're going to make from all over the world. Um, and we're just going to chat. We're going to chat about wine. We're going to chat about life. We're going to chat about how these things, how the lockdown is affecting all of us. Just like, sitting with friends in a normal wine bar, drinking a wine, and actually enjoying it for what it is. And it will be fantastic. And we really, really want everyone that can be on tomorrow at 7 o'clock sharp. We're starting. Um, and we are going to continue until late. And there's some other news as well. Um, Patrick, of the guy from the Fishwives Club, that's going to be on later on to talk about his brand, has donated 24 a case of 24 cans of his new canned wine, and one lucky winner will actually get a case during after. Well, you'll only get the case when it's delivered, but you will win a case if you come to the Prohibition wine bar tomorrow night and join us and stick with us. And we will be talking wine. We will be talking all kinds of things about the alcohol ban, and we'll be sharing our thoughts on the wine we're drinking, and we'll also be sharing our thoughts on how life is treating us during the lockdown and how our lives have changed since this whole COVID epidemic has started. All the things that we really want to talk about over a glass of wine, we will discuss tomorrow night during the Prohibition Wine Bar's inaugural event. So we have a few people online that's working on it. We've actually reached out to a few people in the group that's going to bring friends. Yesterday we had Henning Olivier on. I see Henning left a message here in the comments. He committed to be on there tomorrow night. Dominique that phoned in yesterday from Dublin, she's going to be on. Yvonne van Eck from our Facebook group is going to bring people, and a bunch of other people have already committed to be inside our Prohibition wine bar tomorrow night at 7. So this is important. Everyone that feel they want to support us and make a contribution or just chat. If you don't have wine, actually make yourself a cup of tea and come chat anyway. Come tell us that you don't have wine. We'll feel sorry for you while we drink. But everyone's welcome. The more we are, the merrier we'll be. And like I said, we're going to live stream the Zoom room with all of us enjoying the Prohibition virtual wine bars atmosphere that we're inviting all our international friends, all expats in the world that want to support wine. Please come tomorrow and join the Prohibition virtual wine bars inaugural event. Come drink a glass of wine with us. It's totally free. All you have to do is bring your own wine to your own house. You call in. The link is bit.ly /wine bar. But those links will all be posted. So that wine bar will open 7 o'clock sharp tomorrow, and we can then legally this horrific that's currently decimating our online our wine industry. My team just let me know that um, links and stuff. So I'm just going to actually go there and see if I can find it. There's probably a pin save SA Wine in the wine group. So if you guys can go there and make sure that you put this in your. We'd love to hear everybody that to us tomorrow night, and we'll discuss this. We've got 29,350 members wine, and we are live here, live streaming on Facebook. We're live streaming on YouTube. Excuse me, my voice are going away a bit because I've been talking too much. Everyone that thank you to everyone that's supporting us. We are waiting at the moment for for a guest to call in. Our guest tonight is Mr. Patrick James Robertson. Patrick is the CEO of the Fishwives Club. He's going to come talk to us about the work it takes to build an international wine brand, how he's managed, and how the lockdown and the prohibition is actually affecting his brand, and what he suggests we do, and all kinds of things. So it's going to be interesting to hear Patrick's perspective. His message is a message of hope. Thing is always Patrick has a positive message, so it will be great to hear him talk. Our team just posted here on about the winelands. So it feels like we're back in the 1920s prohibition, but it's not going to stop us having fun. Join us at the Prohibition virtual wine bar for an evening of fun. Bring your wine and dial in here. You dial into bit.ly/wine bar, and then they said there might be a surprise giveaway for some lucky fish. And I must say, unfortunately, I've given the trick away. We are giving away 24 cans of the Fishwives Club a new canned wine to a lucky winner. And we need to thank Patrick Robertson for donating that. If there's any other winery that wants to donate any giveaways to our Prohibition virtual wine bar tomorrow night, please contact us. We'll actually make an appeal to them. So we'll get the wineries involved to actually to see if we can get some more lucky draws out. We've really created this on the fly this afternoon, so we haven't had a long time to plan all of this, but we're doing it fast, and we're doing it to get because we need to get action immediately. We can't plan weeks on getting something done, so we apologize if things are not always perfect, but I think our big speed at the moment is our friend, and we are doing everything we can. We are taking the lead here and just pushing to get more awareness for the cause, and the cause is Safe SA Wine. Hashtag Safe SA Wine. A big shout out to Yvonne van Eck. She came up with the awesome name, The Prohibition. And thank you, Yvonne. We'll see you tomorrow night. I'm looking forward to actually having a glass of wine with you and to hear your perspective. I know Yvonne is a marketer, but I haven't really talked to her yet, so we'll get to know her tomorrow night. Yvonne van Eck, she'll be on Dominique from and her bunch of lady friends promised to be on from Dublin. They were on last night. Henning Olivier will be here. He's going to bring maybe one or two of his friends. I don't know who he's going to bring. Henning, if you're there, tell us what's going to happen. But we are all going to be here talking about the prohibition at the Prohibition wine bar, which is exciting, right? This is the first virtual wine bar that I know of, and I would love to hear comments of what people think of the wine bar. If you like the idea, just send us a love emoji or actually make a comment, and we would love to hear your feeling on this. But tonight's about getting some feedback from the wine industry. We're still waiting for Mr. Patrick James Robertson, from the CEO from the Fishwives Club. He promised me that he'll be here before 8 o'clock. But he's busy doing business. And this is what I think what a lot of people need to realize. To build an international wine brand, you can't be working office hours, right? You can't go in and happily arrive at work at 9 o'clock and leave at 4 o'clock. And I think a lot of time, especially in good times, we don't realize how hard our wine industry, producers and businesses in the wine industry, and also people working in the wine industry, has actually worked to build up our fantastic industry. If you've traveled anywhere in the world, you will know that the experience that you get when visiting the Cape Winelands and visiting any winelands business in South Africa are at a completely off the charts different level to anything else that you can experience in the world. There's a reason that the Cape Winelands have been one of the top 10 tourist attractions in the whole world for the last couple of years. We've built a quality brand, a quality business, and we can see that. We can see that in the way that South African expats, but also the international community, are supporting South African wine. Everybody that's anybody is really coming out and supporting our industry, and the reason being is because people spend hard years of blood, sweat, and tears to build up a fantastic brand, a fantastic business, and it's just sad that it's just been decimated by the current situation, which we believe, and it's our belief that this will change. We just need to keep up the pressure, keep up the awareness. There are jobs at stake. It's not a great situation. Actually, it's a horrible situation, but we have hope. We've got Patrick James Robertson from the Fishwives Club is going to come give us hope. His message is a message of hope. And also, we are creating our own piece of hope here by creating the Prohibition wine bar. We are actually going to sit tomorrow night and talk about this, and this is going to be awesome. So, just back to something completely different. Tomorrow, also we have the launch of the 50th podcast. So we've created a podcast about the winelands, chatting to wine producers, businesses in the winelands, influencers, a whole range of people, restaurants. I interviewed Bertus Passon. I interviewed Liam from the Chef's Warehouse. I've interviewed guys like Ken Forrester and Charles Back. So our podcasts are very, very good and interesting. You can actually go listen to them. The links are all over the show. Just go to About the Winelands on Facebook and you will find us. But our 50th podcast, we are dedicating this actually to the cause, to save SA wine. And and we've asked we've asked everyone in the industry that had the time to please send in a 2 to 5 minute video where they give their 2 cents on how this lockdown and alcohol ban are affecting their business, and giving their opinion. And we are splashing all those videos together, and we are coming up with our 50th podcast. If you're a producer or if you're just a member of the public out there and you still want to do a last minute submission, it's very easy. Just take your cell phone and shoot a quick video of your thoughts, upload it to our group, this group here, Save SA Winelands, and we will capture it from there. Our team will be working throughout the night to make sure the podcasts go out tomorrow. You've got until midnight to submit your podcasts, to submit your videos of support. We do a real appeal to everybody to do that. This will, it's just one more place where we will definitely create awareness. Just sending Patrick a message here. Patrick says he's still busy. He will be with us in a few minutes. So I hope Patrick is doing a fantastic export deal. Actually, Patrick is just come into the room. He's just finished, I think. So let's hear what Patrick has to say. Good evening, Mr. Robertson.
How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. Patrick, you're live here on the About the Winelands Save SA Wine live stream. We are live streaming on Facebook. We're live streaming on YouTube. We're live streaming on Twitter via Periscope. And we are actually streaming to multiple Facebook pages and to 3 Facebook groups. And people have been waiting and in anticipation here. I've been telling them that you are changing the world with your brand, and that you are going to come give us some insight on what it takes to build an international brand, and also how this lockdown is affecting your hard work of the last few years. So, Patrick, tell us a little bit about yourself, and your story on how to build an international brand.
Well, certainly I wish it was really easy. Or there was a handbook of the idiot's guide to building an international brand. I think you've got to start with an impossible dream, because anything of that scale is going to sound impossible to anybody with any amount of experience. So you have to actually come in naive, and I think that's a prerequisite to come into something, into an industry that you don't have much experience in at all. You have to come in naive, and you have to understand that you are naive, and that you, for all intents and purposes, you're ignorant, and you have to make use of and lean on the skills of people that have that experience and have that knowledge. But your dream or lack of experience, you do need to have an impossible dream, and then the drive and the insanity to go after that dream like it's the only thing in the world. And I think that is what you need to start. And if you can honestly tick those boxes and say, yes, I think I have all of those, then you can start finding out how you can make it a reality. But until then, you have to have those few things.
So Patrick, can you elaborate a little bit on your story? You know, how did you start? When did you start? You know, I know you started from small beginnings, but I think the people on this live stream and listening to these videos would love to hear, you know, your full story, and you can give us the longer version tonight.
My goodness, you'd have to make sure you've got a chilled bottle of wine at the ready for the longer version.
So before you go on, Patrick, everybody that's listening now needs to, tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, we are launching the Prohibition virtual wine bar, Patrick, and we are inviting everyone to bring a bottle of wine, either chilled or however they want it, with their glass of wine, and we will be legally staging a drinking protest virtually ban in the Prohibition virtual wine bar, which I think is the first virtual wine bar that I know of. We're inviting everyone, and I just want to say, Patrick, thank you for sponsoring for us of your new 24 of your new cans that somebody will win. And we're looking forward to drinking a glass of wine with you tomorrow night.
No, absolute pleasure. When we have those cans, finally we're given the go-ahead to put the dream into the can. The 250 mils of gorgeous will be available to that lucky winner. And but yeah, I think that's a great idea, by the way, Prohibition wine bar. I think the character Bugsy Malone would be very impressed with that. It's a lovely idea, and I think there should be more of that, and particularly when we can hear from the doyens of the wine industry what they're drinking and why they're drinking it, because we might be quite surprised of what their favorite wine to drink, you know, as a reach for favorite, and it'd be lovely to hear their take on what they're drinking. But the virtual wine bar is a fantastic idea. We just need to dress it up now and give it a shop front and a light outside and a welcoming light inside for people to log in and join us.
Oh, that's awesome. So Patrick, your story, tell us how you started, how you built up this brand. Where did you even get this idea of this lady sitting on a fish? It's wonderful.
Well, the story is on the website, and it is a long story, but you can read it. But it was one literally dark, stormy, rainy night in a terrible Camp Windsor, and a friend of mine owned a cantina, Mexican cantina called D's Mexican. His name is Dion, and I was the only one there. I thought, sitting by the fire, drinking a couple of glasses of house red, with no real prospects of how I was going to pay for the house reds that I was drinking. Because I just crashed out of my one life story and career, and beginning a new one in Cape Town with no money and no experience. So it was a very daunting time. and what all the thoughts that go through your head is, how am I going to make the rent next month? How am I going to feed my 2 German Shepherds? Because if I don't feed them, then I'm on the menu next. And all the basics of how you'll survive and how you'll stay one step ahead of the street. And it literally is. As an entrepreneur, I've started different businesses and had different experiences, and they've all been harrowing. And literally one step away from checking in at the Fisherman's Haven night shelter, for want of a better place. And there were 2 girls in the bar, where there was only one. There was a restaurant. There was 2 girls sitting in the far corner, and Dion went up to them and said, "Hey, that guy in the corner there by the fire, he used to be in advertising, and you girls are designers. Maybe you can talk to each other, and he can help you because he's got lots of experience."
Patrick, was this a business move or a pickup move?
No. I was in no mood to pick up anything, let alone my own tab. And they actually came over to me and said, "Listen, we're 2 young designers. We're here. You're a creative director. Can you help us?" So I said, "Oh, that was an old life I don't want to go back to." And I've seen so many portfolios that I don't know if I want to see another one. And they said, "Well, we've got everything on our iPad, and like we're the only people in the restaurant. Would you have a quick look and tell us what we're doing wrong? Because we're really talented. We're really talented, and actually we're sisters, and we're really talented. We have real talent, but we can't seem to make the business work." I said, "That's because you're creative and you don't have a psycho left brain business guy as a partner, or business person as a partner to balance out your heavy right-handed hemisphere of your brain, because the business side resides in the left brain, really, not the right." And so I said, "Look, I'll have a look anyway, because I'm in the same boat. I'm all creative and all shine and glitz, but no petrol in the tank." And so I had a look, and as I went through their portfolio, I was really impressed, because they really were very, very good designers. And I also said, "How come you're not making any money out of this incredible talent?" And eventually I came across their little design that they'd done of a lady riding a fish. And it was amazing how it just immediately, it's almost like it reached out off the iPad and smacked me between the eyes. It literally felt like that. It was so immediate, and I knew that I had to have seen this. This is something I was meant to see. And I think I told you in a previous conversation, where before I came down from Johannesburg, I happened to go to a psychic fair in Benoni, of all places. But funnily enough, Benoni is a very spiritual center of Johannesburg, of that environment anyway. And they had a fair where there were all these strange and wonderful people on the psychic side of things, and on the sort of very woo-woo kind of spiritual angle. And I happened to see one read tarot cards, and the other one threw crystals and did work with gemstones, and she divinated through the stones. And both of these people, independently of each other, on the same night, both said, "Oh, you're going to make a big future in wine." I said, "Look, I'm not interested in selling wine. I only like to drink it." And I knew nothing about wine. And they said, "Oh, and also you'll be moving from here, and you'll be moving to the seaside, and you'll be moving home." And that got my attention, because they knew all sorts of things about me, which was very unusual, and they could not have known. And both of them were absolutely adamant that there was a big future in wine. And I said, "Well, again, I don't like to sell wine. I'm pretty happy drinking it, and I know nothing about it." But this is what eventually happened. Was this lady on a fish was on a mock-up wine bottle, and it was just a play fun design thing that they were just having fun with. And I asked them if this was bought by anyone, and they said no, it was just something we were fooling around with. And I said, "Listen, can I ask you to take this out of your portfolio and one day I'll buy it from you, but I can't buy it from you now because I can't even afford the glass of wine I'm drinking. And hopefully Dion will let me off the hook and, as a mate, sponsor me a couple of glasses for tonight. And they said, no, sure. Can you give us some advice? So I gave them some advice on what they probably need to do with their business and their new agency and what they need to do from here on in. And it worked for them because they started doing really well and started bringing on good clients, and they deserved it because they're really, really talented. And the two sisters went on, and eventually I did buy that wine label from them after finding a winemaker, which eventually was Lars Mark at Buitenverwachting, and he was the first to help me launch my wine cultivar, and I started with one that was the Sauvignon Blanc out of Buitenverwachting, and Lars was absolutely instrumental because I had no money to do anything other than get his buy-in, and said, look, he said, look, I think it's so sexy, and you know, we're Buitenverwachting, we're very old and established. This is really cool. I'd love to be involved in starting this thing, and let's see what happens. And so that's how we started, with one bottle, one Sauvignon Blanc, and it was the closest wine farm to my house in Hart Bay, which was just over the neck in Constantia. And that's kind of how it started.
Well, Patrick, that's amazing. So you really started with an idea, and you managed to find somebody that believed in you, and you started. Then what did you do? Started selling wine out of your car? How did you manage to get this going?
Well, at that time, when this was all kicking off, and it was really just ideas on paper, and I was starting to put together some ideas from a marketing point of view. I had a housemate. We shared a house in Hart Bay, up in Kronenzucht, up near the dunes, right on the mountainside. And I said, "Hey, listen, what are you doing? You also seem to be semi-unemployed. Why don't we do this thing together?" And he seemed to be the more left-brain part of the thing that I needed, because I wasn't very, sort of systems-oriented. I was more pie in the sky, dream up crazy ideas, sort of part of the brain, which was the right-hand hemisphere. And so Ed and myself embarked on going out to wine farms and seeing if anyone would buy it, if anyone would see the design, see the potential, and provide us with some wine on credit to bottle, and then until we sold some wine to pay back. And that's literally how we had started, and we ended up going through Buitenverwachting, and then literally going to if you could find a bottle of wine, if you could find the Fishwives Club Sauvignon Blanc, it was because I delivered it there myself in an unair-conditioned bucky, and I did this for several years since then, carrying boxes of wine into restaurants, into little wine shops, and I got into ultra liquors through a friend, and so dropping off wine there. And literally, if you could get a bottle of my wine, it was because I physically brought it there. We didn't have any reps, didn't have any distributors. I just had a little bucky and played delivery guy for the first few years. Until I couldn't cope with the amount of wine we were selling. The local market's very tough because it's very much tied up by the big monopolies who will tell restaurants that they will give them loads of umbrellas and build them a sub deck and dress all their waiters in uniforms. And of course, all I could offer was, well, I'll deliver it at my cost into your fridge. That was all I could do. So that sort of crossed off the list a lot of restaurants that we were able to get into. So it was very much the mom and pop restaurants, the restaurants I could meet the owners personally, the managers personally, and then really plead with them to take my brand and tell them that they will sell so much of this wine if they just gave it a chance. And that's pretty much how it started. Real, nothing sexy, nothing cool, real just grease and meat and potato stuff.
So you started selling, and then what happened? How did you actually manage to break into the international market?
Well, again, if you want to go into the international market, you need to be able to go to the international shows. So in order for that, if I was going to go to an international show, even if I sold my bucky, which I was bought through the bank, I still wouldn't have afforded the amount of money it costs to have a stand at these international shows. So there was no way that I was going to go to an international show like ever at that point. And I would just have to keep on selling more wine. And there's only one of me in a bucky and petrol and fees and what have you. And any profit you made would just go into funding the next production run. So you weren't actually really making any money. You were just growing the demand and paying for that demand. But you never felt like you could get ahead. You never felt like you could get enough momentum in order to put money aside for anything. So everything I did myself, do my own ads, all my own marketing, all my own sales, all my own repping, all my own driving. Basically, like any entrepreneur starts, you have to do everything yourself. And years and years and years. And well, at least for the first 3 or 4 years, that's how it went on. And you got to a point where you weren't really making any money. So I'd have to have 2 or 3 other jobs that weren't wine related to bring in money. So I'd freelance in advertising, and I'd do some jobs here and I'd do something else there just to put food on the table and feed my dogs and pay the rent and put petrol in the bucky. But all money that you made just went back into making bigger, buying more labels, and buying more bottles and buying, how much can I get a printed box now, or must I rather stay with the unbranded cardboard box and a sticker? Because you couldn't afford anything else. And there was nobody else queuing up to throw money at you, say, hey, I love your brand, can I help you? Can I be your partner and give you lots of money and help you grow? And I'll also open these international doors. There was none of that. So all I could do was post ads online, and it's like throwing breadcrumbs out of a rowing boat into an ocean, hoping you might catch a big fish. What are the chances? And my first importer client, I saw 1 or 2 of the designs on Pinterest and tracked me down and said, are you making enough wine of this under this label to export to us? And they said, well, we're a large importer in the Netherlands, and we would like to import your brand. So that's how the first one found me. And then the other one found me, I think, online as well, or had my wine, because the Dutch importer, that was the German, he had my wine on the border of the Dutch border because he had a bottle of my Sauvignon Blanc that the Dutch importer had brought in and supplied to a restaurant near the German border. And since then, nearly all the importers have found me online or found me because they saw something or had the wine. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to go to them to any shows or any international shows because it just required money I didn't have, and as you build, it just gets bigger, doesn't it? It doesn't, and the risks just get higher. But you just got to keep throwing money at it and believe that your impossible dream will gain traction.
Well, that's unbelievable. So then you started exporting, and I suppose that means that's history. Your brand started growing, and now you're selling in multiple countries from that base in the Netherlands. Where else have you been selling, and how is it going right now?
Well, from there it was Germany, and then from Germany we got Belgium came on board, and the Belgians, my importer in Belgium is fantastic as well. They've really done well. They've gone from a certain size container to double the size containers, and they really are flying with the brand. The Dutch are flying with the brand. The brand is really doing well, and we're really only in Europe. We're supplying the HoReCa market. So we're not in any retail stores as far as chains, retail chains, supermarkets, that sort of thing. We've built the brand literally and built the patronage through consumers who would then go to small wine shops to find the brand via the HoReCa market. So that would be restaurants and hotels and on consumption in Europe.
Awesome. So your brand is selling in how many countries at the moment?
Well, at the moment we've just gone into Canada. We're in the Netherlands, Luxembourg, Belgium, Germany, Norway. We've just been listed with the monopoly in Norway. We've just been listed with the LCBO in Canada through our importer in Canada. We're busy with Finland at the moment, and we're in Zimbabwe and South Africa and China. We've just brought on China, and China's a new market for us. Wow. But obviously everything has been. This was just pre-COVID, so it's put the brakes on quite a lot of what was happening there. But we hopefully will come back on stream in September, and the China side. And we have one or two very interesting countries that look like they're coming on stream soon as well. But it's early days, and anyone in the wine industry will tell you that things don't happen overnight. In fact, if you get interest from somebody, you're in talks for at least a year. At least a year, you're talking, you're emailing, you're chatting, you might meet, you might not, but it'll take at least a year before that first order comes in. And that's pretty much the time frame we work on, from initial interest to first order, is about a year. So things do take time.
So Patrick, what you're telling me is, to get your brand where it is right now, took some real blood, sweat and tears. And how does that make you feel in terms of, this lockdown that's happening now and really decimating your business like everybody else's business? What do you feel about that?
I think it unfortunately it shows a lack of understanding for the industry is at play in South Africa, and the actual microeconomics that take place in this country. And it's really sad that for example, we would loan the same amount of money from the International Monetary Fund as we've just lost it in taxes from cigarettes and alcohol over the first 3 months of the lockdown. This is basic sort of economic stuff that we expect our government to know better about. And it's, when it comes to challenges like this, it really shows up governments around the world. It'll show up the weaknesses very quickly. And I think countries around the world are seeing now the weaknesses in their governments and the inability of their governments to actually protect them when it counts the most, and actually make the right decisions where it's needed, and listen to the right brains trusts when it matters the most, and keep politics out of it, and keep people and businesses front and center. That's what this is really about, and this is what we've seen wanting in our own government. And in fact, it's something that the government needs to see in themselves, in that reflection. They need to see that this is showing glaring canyons of weakness, that we can't rely on our government to guide our economy effectively. And again, it's shown that South Africans will have to pull together like we've always done. And this is a land founded by pioneers, founded and built by people who were willing to risk everything and extreme hardship for a very long time to build. And we're at that phase again, but we just need to learn that we must work. This is not about competition. Competition is a very bad model to build anything and to build any way future forward. What is needed is cooperation, not competition. And it's through cooperation that we will rebuild again, and we will rebuild faster and stronger. But we need to work together. And I think that these challenges are really showing industries how to work together, that we've never worked this way before. And we're also finding new ways to market. Literally DTC, or direct to consumer, is suddenly opening up, blossoming in a way that no one would have thought. And it's really forcing people to shop online. So that's opening up opportunities. And it's forcing all industries to relook their business models and find new ways to thrive. And I think that not only through innovation, but also through working together, even your competitors, find ways to work so we can work with our competitors in a way we can both win. Rather than one, the problem with competition is, in order for one person to win or one team to win, the joy is only there if the other 50% lose. And that's the model of competition. And actually it's an archaic and it belongs in the dark ages. We need to work in a model of cooperation and mutual benefit. And I think that we're going to see that how profitable and how beneficial this can be. And it takes sometimes, like I say, like the fires that decimated the fynbos many years ago on the mountainsides of Cape Town. And all the botanists were up in arms about that, the fact that this is going to destroy strains of fynbos that will never recover, never come back. In fact, what happened was, because of the fire, it released seeds that brought new strains of fynbos and built the existing fynbos, made them come back even stronger and better than before. And I really think that we can see this incredible baptism of fire that this pandemic, involvement with the pandemic and the decisions that have been made on an economic level, we can see how that's going to affect us. That is our fire, that is our crucible, that is our calcination period as business people and as entrepreneurs and as South Africans. And I think if we can see it in that light, we can come back stronger, better, more efficient, and more innovative than ever before. And I think if we find a new way of cooperation, I think that we're going to fly.
So Patrick, it's wonderful that, I mean, you always are delivering a message of hope, which is, heartening to everybody listening, I suppose. How do you actually stay motivated? And where do you get your personal strength from to deliver this message of hope?
Generally, I look at my children every morning and I wonder that hang on, I'm the breadwinner, I've got to make it work. So my children are a major motivating factor. But I've been in the position many times before when my back's against the wall, and I call it the bleeding diver scenario. Anyone who's a diver knows that as soon as there's blood in the water, you just don't want to be anywhere near that person who's bleeding. And so you'll find that when things are tough, all your support bases just disappear. Your friends disappear, your family's not around, or they can't help you, they don't have any money, or whatever the case is, you're alone. You literally are alone, and you have to fight your way out. And I think that any entrepreneur who wants an easy ride should rather get a secure job and not be an entrepreneur. But anyone who's started a business knows how hard it is. And every morning you've got to wake up and motivate yourself. It doesn't matter how you feel the next day. It doesn't matter what happened or what negative stuff may have happened. You've got to find a way to motivate yourself and remind yourself why you're doing what you're doing. I think I can only hope that whatever everyone is doing is at least something that they're passionate about. I think if you're passionate about something, that is enough to carry you those hard yards through. Like in the army, if anyone had been through special forces training or any other kind of rank or officer training, you would have a period of time, several weeks, maybe several months, depending on what kind of special forces or officer training it was, and they would call it khocha, and you would have to literally go through hell. And whoever remained after that were the ones that went on and were trained in that particular unit. And I think that that's what this really is. So staying motivated, you just got to try and stay as healthy as you can and get up every morning knowing that you have everything you need inside of you to manage yourself, but whatever you can muster within. And I guess I would highly recommend meditation as an unusual tool.
So meditation practice?
I do, yeah. I have a little room that's a dark little room that I like to meditate in, and I think that for meditation to work, you need to do it daily, and it needs to be at least a minimum of 10 or 15 minutes, because it gives you time to sit with yourself, and you can't really run from yourself. And once you can be still enough to hear yourself, you'll realize that you're not the only one involved in yourself. There's a lot of voices going on in your head and lots of things going on and lots of interruptions. and then you will see that your mind isn't quiet at all. In fact, it's like a room full of crazy children. And that you can't get any clarity from a mind that sounds like a classroom full of crazy children. So meditation, starting the morning with meditation or a surf or swim in the early morning in the sea, in the ice cold water, or something that takes you out of your comfort zone, is really a good practice to have to keep you clear. So I think it's very important to stay clear.
Well, I mean, you are somebody who goes and swims in the sea. I've seen your videos swimming early morning. So how long have you been doing this cold water treatment, if I can put it that way?
Well, since the age of 10, I've been surfing in the Atlantic, so the Llandudno particularly, and that's extremely cold as far as the surf break is concerned. But only the last few years without a wetsuit, and rain or shine, winter or summer, it doesn't matter. And cold water is incredibly therapeutic. The colder, the better, and it really tests you. And I think that cold water swimming is completely underrated. I think more and more people should do it. There's a whole bunch of old ladies that often go down in some of the tidal pools in Cork Bay. They're about 7 in the morning, and they have a little club going. And sometimes in winter they'll bring a flask of tea or coffee or whatever it is. Goodness knows there's probably a bit of rum or whiskey inside there. But they're retired, but they look wonderful. They look young, and they've got a great life energy. And they're there early morning, rain or shine, no matter what, and cold water, and they're in fantastic shape. And they're a great example. They're a great motivator. And to see them, do it, that's testament to cold water. I think cold water is very therapeutic.
So Patrick, back to our current situation and what's going on in the country and your plans. What at the moment? How are you coping with this? What are you doing to expand your business? And how do you actually? What practical things can other people do to survive?
I would say don't do nothing. I think this is the time to plan for your assault onto the market, or your strategies. Now is the time to build your battle plan, and be ready when the gates are open to trade again. You don't want to be trying to get everything together when that starts. You want to be ready to go the moment it does. And I would say start selling right now, like what a lot of smart guys are doing, smart wine farms. They're pre-selling. They're finding ways to sell without having a product ready to go. And I think that's amazing. I think that's disruptive. That's new. That's innovative. It's fantastic. It's very encouraging. And I think that we as the wine industry, we supply lots of restaurants, and I've been loving seeing the support that the wine industry has also been giving the restaurants, because they're our partners in the business too. Wine and food go hand in glove, and that's again the cooperation I was talking about. Cooperate together. Let's see how we can work together, and the guys we already supply. How do we let them sell our wines for us and make their markup? Because that's how they were doing it before. So I think it's finding ways to work as a team and working together and prospering together in a time when you can't sell. So the idea is, how do you sell when you don't have a product, when you can't sell a product? Well, you can still sell. You can pre-sell. And that's become a whole new category in my mind. And it's amazing to see how people have taken advantage of that.
Well, it's also amazing to see how many of our actual consumers are prepared to support the industry by buying their wine and waiting for it, as a way of supporting an industry that they obviously want to see survive. So that is heartening as well. Just want to tell you, Patrick, and give everybody some feedback. We've just passed the 29,500 mark on our Facebook group. And that's fantastic. Thank you to every one of those 29,500 people for um, uh, actually supporting the South African wine industry. Um, and every single person on here deserves our thanks. We are looking for people to actually speed this level of awareness up by sharing this with more friends, more family. If every single person on here now goes out and share that to 3 people, or share the group with 3 people, we'll have 100,000 people on here. We want people to go out to Twitter to actually use the hashtag SaveSAWine to tweet that out so that we can trend on Twitter, because that will, if we can get Twitter trending, that means the press and everybody will start to take note. So everybody that's on here, please do whatever you can. Tomorrow night, we are launching the Prohibition virtual wine bar, 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. And all you need to do is bring your bottle of wine in your glass. We'll be actually live streaming our wine bar Zoom room into Facebook, into YouTube, into Periscope, Twitter, and we'll be talking about wine. We'll be talking about um, all kinds of things. We've got Mr. Patrick James Robertson, who we need to thank. He's graciously sponsored a case of 24 cans of the Fishwives Club new cans as a prize, as a special prize for somebody. We'll still decide how we're going to actually give that prize. I think we'll give it to the person that stays in the wine bar the sober the longest, or something like that. But we're going to talk about wine, we're going to talk about life, and we're going to talk about things in general. And thank you, Patrick, for your support. Patrick, next question is, what is your plans for going forward for the Fishwives Club? How do you take this brand to the next level?
Besides Fastback, I think is to find new ways to upsell your buyers, and that's something we're looking at. We're calling it Ubuntu capitalism. It's a media channel. We've started the Fishwives Club media channel, and that is predominantly a social media initiative where we use all the social media channels to promote our buyers and their buyers overseas. We predominantly export, so very few people would have seen our brand in South Africa. We took root really quickly overseas in Europe, so a lot of our focus has been there. And so the idea with that is we're diversifying into 2 areas of merchandising our brand through our merchandising and signage, and then also the Fishwives Club media channel. And the idea is to upsell the people who are already buying our wines from our importers, and upselling our importers and their buyers, so that we put them on the map. So we focus on giving them the media spotlight. What are they doing with that's great? What is their USP or their unique selling proposition as an outlet, or as a restaurant, or a wine bar, or a wine shop, and then putting them on the sort of social media landscape that we have through our media channels. We have lots of followers, so we are putting out their brand and promoting them. And it's just nice to know we're also available for sale at their outlets. But it's predominantly, if we focus the media spotlight on them and give them some in the media sun, that we are helping our teammates, because they're basically all on our team, helping them win. And if we can help them win, then we win by default. And there again is the idea of the cooperation I was talking about earlier, that if we find ways to plug into each other in a way that we can both win, and we're focused on their success, our success will follow, by virtue of the fact that they're selling our brand amongst other brands as well. And even if they weren't, then that's okay. It doesn't matter. The focus is on them anyway, and putting the right foot forward. So what we're looking at is is different ways to market and different ways to bring our brand presence to the consciousness of the market that's out there. And it's not just about selling wine, it's also about plugging into the lifestyle.
So Patrick, that's a wonderful philosophy. So if I hear you correctly, what you're saying is you are going out, you're helping your people that are buying from you to actually, you are promoting their businesses. But the amazing fact to me is you're not just promoting their business, you're actually promoting their business without any expectation of getting a reward. You're doing it purely to help them, and you believe that if you go out and you do that without that expectation in your heart, and you just do your best, that eventually your reward will come.
Well, exactly. This, you know, I grew up in a world where, you know, 30 years of advertising was all about let's sell our brand, sell our brand, sell our brand. So everyone is selling their brand. But sometimes it's nice when everyone is shouting that you hear somebody singing. And it's the singing that will stand out above the shouting because it just sounds so different. And even if it's not meant to get any personal thing out of it straight off the bat, it's the energy flow that's important, and it's the focus on you know, goodwill. And goodwill generally has a way of coming around and coming around with benefits. So the intention shouldn't be to receive, but it nonetheless, it's a universal principle that's how it works in any case.
Well, that's awesome, and I think that is absolutely you know, a refreshing point of view, and really you know, it gives hope in time like this that if you just go out and do your best, that things will eventually change, and you will be rewarded, which is a wonderful wonderful story of hope. I think I'd like to hear from you. Um, um, if you have to sum up your brand, what do you think the brand represents, and what does it stand for?
It's a very interesting question there, Will, because I couldn't understand why the impact of a lady on a fish had such a powerful impression. And when I finally decided I'd meditate on this and see if I could find the answer, because there was no way you can go and look it up in a book. It had to come out of, as if I had a magic out of somewhere, because it obviously had something, but I didn't know what it was. And it was quite amazing what came. And then at the moment the information started coming, I started writing it down. And it was as if I was taking dictation. And what came through, it was like automatic writing. It's just my pen just carried on writing. And then I had to reread it over and over again after I'd finished to actually understand it. And what came out of it was, and it was quite miraculous, to be honest, and a little bit freaky, but what came out of it was the fish represented the age of Pisces. And so I had to go and look at what Pisces represented, and sure enough, it's the fish, and then how long that age lasted. And the age of Pisces is outgoing. In other words, it's passing. It's on its way out, and it's out. And it was a very male-dominated time, very oppressive, and very filled with war and male energy and oppression, etc., and suppression. And the age of Aquarius is represented by the woman on top of the fish, straddling the fish on top of it. And the age of Aquarius is the incoming energy on the planet, and it's female energy. And I thought, wow, this is crazy. How does this all happen? And there it was, all coming through as in what the emblem actually represented, and the dichotomy, or the sort of juxtaposition of these two yin and yangs, if you will, the female energy and the male energy. Hence the fish facing left, going backwards in time, and others going back out. So it's in the past. However, the lady's always looking towards us, and that she's in the present. So what the brand represents is very female. So it's a very female-driven brand. We cater very much for the ladies' sense of style and taste. And 90% of our followers are women, but of course we're not exclusive, but it's very much a female energy in the brand. And basically what it represents is it's an empowering brand, and it should be empowering for the ladies who drink it, that you have everything you need to thrive right now. And the idea of having to be subservient to anyone or anything, that time is over. It's your time to shine, your time to take the step forward and to claim your birthright, and that is your individuality and your power. And this is the time to do it. The age of Aquarius. The age of Aquarius is now at large and in charge. And this is the dispensation of women on top. So that's what it symbolizes. It's women on top.
Do you think that's one of the reasons why this is gaining so much traction in Europe? Because Europe seems to be on the forefront of.
I think that it's probably very subconscious. It's certainly not obvious, but that is happening in any case around the world, that this female energy is ushering in this new era of change and female energy, which is completely different to male energy. And we're going to see many more females in positions of power, and more they're going to be taking the positions of power, and men are going to be stepping back. So expect to see lots of that.
That is so interesting, especially since August is Women's Month, right? And we've got International Women's Day coming up.
Perfect.
So Patrick, in terms of your merchandise, what are you going to actually merchandise? What do you guys have?
We're starting off with we want to offer a small line at the moment, but quality, so that we build on our quality and we build on our capacity. So we're offering very high quality T-shirts with printed, branded insignia on these. We're also going to be doing some vests as well for summer. We're looking at some caps as well, but mainly the clothing. We have some cushions that are available, so scatter cushions with the brand, so you can collect on all the different cultivars. And basically, we're looking at things that you can that are part of a lifestyle. We want to be very much our merchandising as we grow. We will be doing signage for our importers in their stores and their buyers' stores and restaurants and wine bars. So lit signage and beautiful, innovative